Hey traders, Cousin Vinny coming to you on January 19th, Sunday, with a look at the week ahead in brief format this week, as well as a watch list and things that I am considering trading in the week ahead. I thought I would do something different in that I would be more brief in the current state of the markets and talk mostly about trades that I'm thinking about taking in the upcoming week, in order to be brief with the market indicators that I'm looking at and the charts, which for the most part you guys can read on your own. So I'll spend the first couple of minutes talking about the indices and what the current indicators are saying. Indicators are bullish or volatility, macro, seasonality, and prices continue to stay above the 10 EMA on all of the indices. Bearish indicators, valuations are high, and sentiment is also in nosebleed territory. New York Advanced Decline continues to move higher and confirming prices at the current levels. And the ARCA Institutional Index, we'll talk about that, what it's currently saying, the failed to make new highs, and what MACD, Stochastic, and CCI tell us. I'm watching for setups here, current trades, you can see what we have here, and my watch list, as well as what Mikey is looking at. Briefly, we're going to run through the indices. The comp looks well above the 10-period EMA. The industrials, we can see the same thing, a flag here and a break higher. We're retesting that breakout level, but the indices do look good. On all of these, I'd like to see a retest of this recent high and a breakout in order to stay bullish short term. This is the Russell. Prices are above the 10-period EMA, and we are above this recent high. So small caps are leading currently, as well as big cap tech. S&P 500 prices are right at the 10-period EMA on the close Friday, but we remain in this uptrend. I'd like to see a test of these recent highs here, 1849 and 1850 respectively, in order to stay bullish short term. Now the S&P weekly is technically in sell territory. We could very well bounce just like we did for the majority of 2013 and stay above this level here, the 100 level, which is a sell signal if we drop down below. But currently we continue to move sideways at 96.55. TNX, the 10-year yield, has continued to move off of these levels that we saw recently at the 3%. That affects the builders, ITB and XHB here shown, breaking this little cup that I pointed out last week, moving a little bit lower. So if you're trading builders stocks, keep that in mind, as well as REITs. REITs are moving sideways and have yet to test this downtrend line. And of course utilities currently are moving sideways here. As far as breadth on the S&P 500, we had this little pennant that we dropped down below on Monday last week. Note that there wasn't a lot of put buying. We negated that move on Tuesday, and we're currently trading near the highs. But most importantly, the 20-period moving average continues to move higher, and it does support higher prices. Advancing minus declining stocks, favoring the small and mid caps, as well as the up-down volume percent, which favors the large caps. We continue to move higher on both, so breadth is positive. Until that changes, we could see higher prices. The ARCA Institutional Index, which I follow religiously, currently RSI failed to make a new high, and we're moving back down towards 50. Prices did hold the 20-period moving average here, and we can see current pivots and Fibonacci levels will continue to stay above the 50% level, and this level that we broke out above back in December. Okay. The stochastics, MACD, and CCI are all on sell signals, so keep that in mind. %B is at the midline, so as far as Bollinger Bands are concerned, we are testing a 20-period moving average, as you can see here, and our Bollinger Bands are compressing. So keep that in mind going into the week. I like to follow this and the trading that occurs on these big cap stocks that most institutions keep as their core holdings. So let's start talking about individual stocks now and trades for the upcoming week. I got back into Citigroup on Friday. You can see what I was looking at prior to this trade. We took a trade on January 2nd when we were testing this downtrend line and broke out. We saw this level of this Kirby level up here, and we sold as we got outside of the Bollinger Bands for the 5th day. We said that we thought we could see some reversal, and that's exactly what we got. We've come back down to test this trend line where we broke out on the 2nd of January. So currently I have a small quarter position in calls. Nothing huge. If prices fail and continue to move down to this lower Bollinger Band, we will be stopped out on Monday. EMC, we currently have 1/4 position left. We have earnings on 1/29. That's been confirmed, I believe, on Thinkorswim. You can see the pattern that we broke out of and why we took this trade. We flagged and we came down, tested that flag or pennant, bounced off the 10-period EMA, and we're currently flagging again sideways. So I'm looking for a test of 27. May not come, but we have taken most of the profits off on this particular trade. Hertz Global, we took a trade on this on Thursday, I believe. This box setup, we are continuing to bang around in here, and I'm looking for, since we retested this upper trend line, for a bounce on bounce on Tuesday. Note that Dan Loeb announced that he had a less than 5% stake in this particular company, so it was one of the reasons I decided to take a trade on this. Note the Kirby levels, and we can see MACD and stochastics are starting to set up. They're not quite there yet, but I would look for these indicators to turn north this week if we get a follow through to the upside. Now, it's important to look at where prices have been in order to understand where you are trading in terms of a new trend. This stock had been running up, it consolidated sideways. You can see the EMAs. We had a crossover here on the 1030, which is a bullish setup, and then we continued to move higher, and then we got the announcement by Dan Loeb. So this is, you want to see the 10 period above the 30 period to be bullish on your trades, and the reverse 10 period below the 30 period if you're considering shorts on a particular position. Currently we're above the 30 period on the 10, so the 10 period continues to give us an indication that this is a bullish trade. So I'm looking for a bounce here after this pullback. I got a better entry risk reward at this point, so I'm staying with Hertz currently, and I have a quarter position at present. If we do see weakness in the indices, I would be looking at steel stocks. All of them are showing weakness currently. AKS, STLD, Nucor, NUE, and of course US Steel X. This is Nucor. You can see what I'm looking at here. That reverse Kirby. If we get prices down below that level and take out some of these recent pivots, these recent pivot lows, and of course US Steel, which saw a nice run up after this breakout of this base pattern here, and we moved higher. So now we're retracing. I could see a pullback to the 382, taking these low pivots here and this 3115 as a high. This is a chart of WX that I have some interest in. Mikey and I were talking about early Saturday morning about the IBD top 50, how this was consolidating, Bollinger Bands are compressing. We saw a nice move in the trend over the last 6 months. A nice, solid, good-looking chart. And noting also that MACD and stochastics came down below 50 in this case, and with MACD down in this area and bounced 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So I'm looking for that as a target for an entry. I will not chase this, but I'll be watching this on Tuesday morning. It is a Chinese stock, so keep that in mind. But note the strength to the S&P 500. This is a SAR, stop and reverse, signal scan that I have, a custom scan. And some of the names that popped up on this list were Electronic Arts, which we'll look at now. If you're a gamer or follow any of the sales on the Xbox and the PlayStation 4, many stores were out of stock and out of inventory. So this is something I've been watching. Noted this descending pattern here that we broke out of on Monday. We had a nice move here, $1.25. Nice gap up off of this lower level, the previous low. And looking for this to continue to move higher. We had a pocket pivot that erased all of these down days for the previous 10 days. And we see MACD setting up for a move higher. So I'm watching Electronic Arts for an entry. I won't chase it, but it does look good going forward, being that the sales of their top games, Call of Duty, Ghosts, and a few others are looking really good. So I'd be looking for these previous highs here as a obvious target, with 2663 as the first target in the very near future. Another name that popped up in the SAR breakout scan was Webcom group. They're in the internet service provider sector. You can see a nice cup and handle. We came down, we looked like we were going to break out, and then we came back down and sat right on the 10 period EMA. We have this Kirby level up here, support down in this area. Everything looks pretty good for the most part, so I'll be watching this for a breakout coming into Tuesday. Note that on the handle the volume decreased, which is what you want to see. And we can see that MACD is flattening right here. So that's a good sign if you're thinking about taking an entry into this particular name with an expectation that this would be continuing higher. Cup and handles, remember, is a continuation pattern. So we should see higher prices. Note where we came from. We had a nice move here over a 6-month period, down from 15 up to 30, so we're 100% there. And consolidation down to 50%, retracements on the fib, and now we're looking for a move higher. We're going to take a look at the top 25 to 30 movers and shakers in a candle glance format. Note AMBA looks a little tired here, a lower high, but it is holding a 20 period moving average. Things I'm looking at going into the week are GOGO, which you can see here had a nice move higher, had this breakout of this descending channel pattern, ran up again. Now we have a descending wedge. This is a bullish pattern. We have this Kirby bar here. We move down to the 50% retracement level. RSI appears to be turning back up. I'd like to see a move, a breakout of this wedge pattern. Currently we have the 10 period above the 30, so this still could move lower. So this is a bearish pattern for now, with a bullish possibility if this breaks out and gives us a signal higher. So currently I'm looking at this, but I'm not into this trade just yet. Slow stow is oversold, turning, and we can see on-bounce volume has made a little bounce here. Note the Kirby, or excuse me, note the burst in volume here last week on Friday, and keep that on your short watch list for a move higher if we break out of this pattern on volume in the coming week. That's GOGO. Also noted EPAM as being on the watch list. Note this nice little cup pattern here that's building. We could move back up here to 39.76. We have this lower level here, Kirby, for support, and RSI is above 70. So I'd like to see a handle build here over the next week or two to set this up for a nice long trade and a move higher. Note where we came from. We had this nice run for 6 months. We consolidated. Now we are probably picking up stronger hands, and we'll see the weakest ones taken out on this handle here. I want to see volume taper off on that handle and a move higher on a breakout on higher volume. SIVE, noted the number of stocks in the airline index were looking pretty good. Continues to move higher. It's not that far off of the breakout level. If this were to move back down to the 10-period EMA, I'd find that as a good area for risk-reward entry going into the week. So I'm watching SIVE. This is American Airlines Group. Note the cup and handle. This is a 60-minute chart. Nice little handle building here. We could see continued move higher here. This is the daily. You can see this level here we're starting to test again, and we could see higher prices here with the 20-period moving higher as well on this new issue. LFL, Latam Airlines Group. This is a Chilean airlines that is putting in a nice pattern here, a nice descending channel, breaking higher. We have this Kirby level up here, and also a crossover on the MACD. This should see higher prices in the near term, and if we get above this level here, could be an interesting move back up to these previous pivot points here at 1922 and 2197. So that's something on my short list. RYAAY is another stock that I'm looking at, testing this trend line where we broke out and we came back down and retested. So I'm looking for this to move higher. Found support at this Kirby level, and we can see slow stow is oversold and starting to turn. I'd time that with the MACD as well. So currently no position, it's just something I'm watching. And we can see some of the other names, weighted alphas on these names as well as percent change. Last week, Allegiant Airlines, RYAAY, and so forth, SkyWest. So you can see what I'm looking at in terms of the transportation airline sector. With lower oil prices, things are looking a little better for this group. Looking at some of Mikey's stocks real quick, we can see this company, NRG Yield Inc., NYLD. It's got a nice trending pattern here, box trade setups. Pretty chart actually, and we could see we're probably going to move back up to the 41 level with RSI continuing to point higher. And if Mikey took this, it's because of IBD numbers, Investors Business Daily. So invariably this has good numbers. Otherwise Mikey wouldn't be looking at it. INVN, INVN, also nice cup and handle pattern here. RSI continues to move higher to sideways. We have this Kirby level of support. Another name that Mike is looking at. Slow stow did give us a signal, but it was on a handle. So this is looking kind of interesting as well going into the week. Again, probably an IBD type of trade that Mike is looking at. This is just an example of one of those IBD top 50 trades. Nice little breakout here at the 103 level, and then a move higher. This is the type of trade that Mikey likes to take, more of a long-term trending type of trade. So guys, I think this is going to do it for me for the 19th of January, Sunday. I'm going to go spend some time with my kids. This is Cousin Benny. I hope this helps. Take care, and we'll see you in the room on Monday.